Today, Mayor Mamdani sounded the alarm on the city's $12 billion deficit. He blamed the crisis on the previous administration and says he wants to tax the wealthy to help fill the gap. News 4's Melissa Russo in our newsroom with more on the mayor's plan today. Melissa.
Natalie, pivoting from several days of cold weather to deliver a chilly fiscal forecast, Mayor Zohran Mamdani said the city faces a $12 billion budget gap, and he blames mismanagement by his predecessor.
I will be blunt. New York City is facing a serious fiscal crisis.
Mayor Zohran Mamdani with his first budget-related announcement 4 weeks into his term.
In the words of the Jackson 5, it's as easy as ABC. This is the Adams budget crisis.
With visual aids and prepared remarks, Mamdani accused his predecessor, Mayor Eric Adams, of intentionally underestimating the city's costs by $7 billion to make the budget look balanced when it wasn't.
The Adams administration dramatically and intentionally understated the problem.
In about 3 weeks, Mayor Mamdani will have to present his own balanced budget. It's not entirely shocking that the budget looks to be $12 billion out of balance.
So Mayor Mamdani came out with a report today for New York City that they are in a $12 billion deficit. And his big idea, his big solution is what? Taxing more of the wealthy and taxing more corporations. We've already seen an exodus of people leaving New York as far as just wealthy people and companies. You're going to see an acceleration of that. The only way that he thinks that he can get money is by taxing more. But when you tax more, people aren't just going to sit there and take it. They'll just leave. There's been a mass exodus already of people leaving, especially wealthy people leaving New York and going down to Florida, Tennessee, Texas, various other places. The one thing I can say about Mamdani, I know he wished that Mayor Adams was not a Democrat. He needs a villain. So his villain right now to continue to push his agenda is Mayor Adams. He's going to blame everything on Mayor Adams. Yes, what we see, Mayor Adams was still a Democrat. They spent money on what? Homeless shelters, overtime, social services, programs for nonprofits. It's the same thing. But now you're starting to see with Mamdani, he already talking about he wants to do universal health care, which can basically cost $6 billion a year. So his big solution is taxing more, taxing more, taxing more. And also, too, in New York, what they want to do is they want to take the properties so they can get money from the properties. What you have to do in order to solve the budget anywhere, you have to delete things. See, what they're trying to do is add more taxes, add more programs, add. In order to get under that $12 billion deficit, you have to look at the budget just like a business, just like in life. You look at the things that don't make sense, the things that aren't essential. There's a lot of homeless shelters. There's a lot of people own these homeless shelters, these nonprofits that make billions of dollars a year. Let's fix this homeless problem. Let's get these people out of here. Let's do something else that's going to actually make it make sense. Let's put them in recovery houses to where they're good and they can work for us and get the money back into the state. What you need is the taxing. You need to have people working. So if you're taxing the corporations more, New York already has one of the highest real estate rentals and leasing in the country, but then you want to add more of a cost and more of a burden on these corporations. What do you think they're going to do? They'll just leave. That's exactly what they'll do. They'll just leave, and then next you know, you can look at New York, it's going to be a ghost town. Look at what Chicago's doing. Look at what California's doing. Looking at these liberal states and cities and see what they're doing, and it's not working. And then what is New York going to do? Raise property taxes. It's the same old play, and it shows if you look at Chicago, if you look at LA, if you look at San Francisco, it's the same play, and it doesn't work. They feel that taxing more will solve the deficit. But what will solve the deficit is eliminating a lot of these programs that are bloated that actually don't do anything for the community. I just wish that a lot of these politicians would just look and say, let's start investigating these homeless shelters. Let's start investigating these food pantries and all these things that get billions of dollars a year. Let's look at that. Let's scale that back. Let's see, why are they spending so much money? I guarantee you look into these shelters, you look into these nonprofits, you'll see that there's a lot of people there flying on private jets, taking luxury vacations. All of that is very common. But what Mamdani is going to do, he's going to tax more. Tax the rich, tax the middle class, tax the corporations, tax the property taxes. Everything's going to go up, but it won't solve anything. All you're going to do is get that money and continue to spend money on these bloated nonprofit organizations that claim that they are helping, and they're not.
Controller Mark Levine recently estimated the gap for this year and next year at $12.6 billion, and last month, State Controller Tom DiNapoli warned of a $10 billion gap. Responding to Mamdani today, a spokesman for the former mayor said Adams brought back the city's economy after inheriting a $10 billion deficit himself, compounded by a pandemic and a migrant crisis. Adams also had a lot to say about this on social media today. "I didn't leave a budget hole," he said. "I left over $8 billion in reserves. Only someone who can't read a balance sheet would call that a crisis." And here's the part socialists hate saying out loud. Free is a lie. Every so-called free program comes with a price tag.
Do you need to revise any of that?
Exactly. I agree with Mayor Eric Adams on that. When you see these programs that are going to the homeless, going to feeding people, it may be free for them, but it's costing the people. There's nothing in this life that is free. I tell my kids that all the time. Nothing in this life is free. When we have these nonprofit organizations, these programs, they say that they're helping, and they're free for the people that they're providing a service to, but who pays for that? The city, the state, and you. You're the one that's really paying for these programs because it's coming from your tax dollars. That's why I said, if Mamdani was smart, if he had a good people around him, he would say, we have to bring the deficit down the old-fashioned way. Cut programs. Cut it all, and let's see how much money are we spending on these programs. But he won't do that because this is the Democrat playbook. If a Republican came in there, this is what they'll do. They'll do a New York NYC Doge, go through everything and say, we don't need that, we don't need that. But I guarantee what we see from Minnesota fraud, I guarantee New York is probably 10 times worse.
Campaign promises that you made, which you estimated would cost some $10 billion, and that's before we even take into account the $12 billion out of balance.
We will not allow the failures of the prior administration to dull the ambitions of our own.
So if that's the case, how will the new mayor close the gap and deliver on those campaign promises for things like free buses and discount groceries? He said he's not looking right now at cuts to the NYPD or to any other agencies, and he will investigate how the city spends every dollar to look for savings. But he says it'll take something more. And what he's talking about, taxing corporations and the wealthy. But so far, Governor Hochul has not agreed.
This is what I'm saying. This is what he wants to do. Tax the rich, tax the corporations, but it doesn't work. You need to go and look at the organizations that you're paying all this money for these shelters and everything, and I guarantee you have massive amounts of fraud, and I guarantee you have people on there that's getting this money and putting it in their back pockets for sure. For sure. As much money as they spend on homeless shelters and all these things, there should be nobody that should be hungry, and it should be nobody that doesn't live underneath a roof. What's happening is they're not looking at the big thing. It's because they're choosing not to, because those are the people that put them in position to be in power. That's all it is. That's all it is. They will refuse to look into these non-profit organizations because those are the ones that's getting all the money. You don't take money from the NYPD. You don't take money from the fire. You don't take money from essential services. You take money from the people that are supposedly supposed to be helping you, but you still have homelessness. You still have hungry kids. And you're paying these bloated salaries and these bloated amounts for nothing. I feel sorry for New York because I'm in LA and we see it with Karen Bass and we see it in our state with California with Gavin Newsom. We see people overlooking the biggest problem. It's the nonprofit organizations, and those are the ones that make a lot of money in these blue states. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Make sure you become a member of the Patreon. Link is in the bio. New No Filter morning show coming very soon. I appreciate your support. We're going to keep this thing rocking. I love the love, and I love the hate. I'm out.